Konnichiwa mina, boku wa Jeremy desu. Yoroshiku onegai shimasu. And today is another episode of Sailor Moon Crystal, or was another episode of Sailor Moon Crystal. It was Act 22, Hidden Agenda, Nemesis, and we are on Book 5. Book 5 of the new anthology type thing. And so, let's see what we've learned. This episode basically taught us exactly how things went down, mostly through Saphir's eyes, when he was talking to Usagi, and you know, what happened with the Black Moon family, how they came to be, basically, how he sees his brother is really losing it, and what else did we learn? Oh yes, that somebody has apparently been squeezing Wiseman's balls really, really hard, which allows him to reach those really, really high notes in his voice, and that he is actually the voice actor of Black Lady, because, well, they kind of sound the same as we saw in some of the kind of back and forths. So, I know, I'm being facetious. What can I say? But it's true. It sounds like it. So, basically everything starts off right where it left off in the last episode. Wiseman's there, got his hand out, and he's like, "Take my hand, because I'm a creepy old man, and I can give you power." Because, you know, that's like saying, "Hey, have some candy if you come with me seductively." Because, you know, this, I don't know, this series is really, really warped. You never really notice it too much in the manga, but when they bring it to anime form, and it's so much like the manga, you really go back and you think to yourself, oh my god, this is really creepy. Like the whole thing with Prince Demand dressing Usagi like Neo Queen Serenity. Yeah. Anyway, so Pluto realizes what's going on. There's a big storm. She faints, and then it kicks back over to the library where they're going over all these files and stuff, and the king realizes that something's wrong, so he races over down the hall, and then Tuxedo Command's like, "Oh no, I better go too," and just typical boys, I guess. Venus is like, "I want to come too," and they're like, "No, you stay behind. You wait here," because, you know, the males, especially in this particular episode, came across very, very misogynistic, whatever you want to pronounce it as, in different ways. Also, the animation for the guys was all over the fucking place today. It always is. What am I talking about today? Pluto, too. Her face, like, I don't know, I was just drawn to the way her mouth was moving, especially. I'm like, something's weird about that compared to the other ones, but maybe I'm overanalyzing things. Anyway, the other weird thing is, in the manga part, when it shows Chibiusa reaching out to Wiseman, it's very just kind of a bland picture of what's going on, but they actually show a black moon form on her head, so in the anime version, which gives a lot of stuff away, especially to people that haven't really watched the series or read it before and are just learning about all this stuff, so it's kind of an interesting little thing that they did there. Tuxedo Command runs off, pulling kind of an Usagi move, not really thinking, just going and acting. Normally he's the one that stops and thinks about this, but he just runs off. And so there is that deep connection there, I guess, with Chibiusa. And he's got the moon rod in his hand, so he's running along there, kind of lost in time and space. Anyway, then it cuts over to Usagi, and she's wandering the halls of the Black Moon Palace, and she's losing her energy slowly as she goes. And then we find out why Saphir and Rubius are sitting there talking about, it's because of the dark power, it's sapping their energy, and then they're starting to figure out, hey, you know, I think we're being used as puppets, and so on and so forth. This episode focused a lot on Saphir, which is good, but it's weird to me that Rubius was the one that ended up dying. I guess they kind of didn't really... They paid more attention to the others, more so than Rubius. I mean, he kind of got that shit end of the stick. But in the original anime, they had a lot of stuff with Rubius, so I don't know. So anyway, they're sitting there talking about stuff. Usagi is listening in, and Prince Demand happens to end up behind her. She ends up fainting, and then Demand catches her. The boys realize that they've been heard, and he takes her to this bench. He goes to touch her, and actually it's completely different because she's on the floor, or on a resting thing, and in the manga, and then it's a bench out in a courtyard type thing on the anime, which is a nice touch. And he goes to touch her. She's like, "No, I don't want you to touch me." But she wakes up because of two things. They show Tuxedo Command, and then they show Neo Queen Serenity. Now, a lot of stuff is being mentioned of, oh, okay, Neo Queen Serenity is the one that's giving her this power to be able to do all this stuff. But really, it does go back to the whole friendship thing and the connection that she and Tuxedo Command have. It's all joined completely. Yes, Neo Queen Serenity does help out, but I think it's because deep down, subconsciously, Usagi's own power is what reaches out to Neo Queen Serenity of the future, gets her ability to to actually get into her with the silver crystal, because the silver crystal has got Neo Queen Serenity encased in it. Sailor Moon is a part of the silver crystal. Her emotions run it, her feelings, her love for everybody, and so naturally she would be the one person that would be able to reach herself in the future, I would think. So, and then there's also the thing with Tuxedo Command and his connection to her. So it snaps her out of this. She wakes up, says, "Don't touch me, you asshole." I'm paraphrasing here, and she walks away, and the man just lets her go. So she comes across Saphir, and he's in the big malefic black crystal thing chamber, and he's just standing there talking. Now, in the manga, he brings forth Venetti and Aquatici. That's their names, these droids, and of course Saphir is the one that creates all of these droids. And he's talking like a lunatic. In fact, in many ways, he's more crazy than Prince Demand seems to be. He's like, "Oh, you need to accept our apology for this, because this wasn't supposed to happen like this. We're being used. Wiseman's evil, blah, blah, blah. You have to send a message. Boom, I'm going to kill you. That's how I'm going to send you the message. You're going to show everybody that this is going on by your death. All right? That's how it is." Basically, that's what he's saying. All mobster-like, but not really. And so these droids, these nameless droids in the anime, which are, of course, Venetti and Aquatici, if I'm pronouncing those right, grab hold of Sailor Moon, or not Sailor Moon yet, sorry, Usagi, and she's like, "Where's my friends?" And they're all like, "Oh, they're dead," and she's like, "No, they're not," and blah, blah, blah. So Saphir is the one that manages to get through to Usagi to bring forth her power. Not meaning to, of course. He actually wants to kill her, but maybe there's another underlying reason for it. I don't know. We'll see as it goes along. We had the epiphany part where Usagi realizes, "Oh my god, maybe I do have the power to do this," which also kicks in the power of Neo Queen Serenity, which helps her transform. She becomes Sailor Moon. Now, I was hoping that there would be a similar scene in the episode as there was in the manga, where Sailor Moon, once she transforms, she sends this really neat thing barreling down the floor. This part right there, hopefully you can see that. But it didn't quite happen that way. She did reach out to Mercury, Mars, and Jupiter. Her power's going and resurrecting things, which is why I think there's those zombie kind of corpses that are there that are alive around Mercury, Mars, and Jupiter. Nothing really happens with it, of course. They transform, they burst up through the floor. Everybody's like, "Holy shit," basically. And that's when Wiseman appears, and Demand goes to use his eye. Well, we got attacks this time, so we got Mercury, Mars, and Jupiter doing their Shine Aqua illusion, the burning mandala, and sparkling wide pressure, which was nice, because I don't think that actually happened in the manga. No, it didn't. So, but I guess it was kind of a filler thing, but not really. They had to have some action, and a lot of the other episodes have been mostly talk, so it's kind of nice to have that little break in there. And so they're facing off. Wiseman has Black Lady with him, and they don't realize who Black Lady is, even though it's painfully obvious to all of us. And Rubeus is starting, he's like, okay, shit, the castle's kind of crumbling around us. I'm getting the fuck out of here, because he's the only one with actual brains of the Black Moon family, by the looks of it. Unfortunately, he gets caught and called a coward, and basically he gets killed. Boom, done. There was really no build-up to his character very much in this episode, unlike the other ones, like even the sisters, and to some extent Esmeralda. But it's almost like the key players are kind of just being offed without much history behind them. Saphir, of course, we learn more about him, and Demand, we're learning as things go along. In the musical version, of course, Saphir was the one that was kind of in power, which really did show the level of his intelligence and also his insanity, I suppose, some would argue, because he basically made a droid of his brother, and I don't know how they're going to handle that with this series. There's only 4 episodes left of Sailor Moon Crystal, believe it or not. I know. Very weird. And still no major announcement on whether the new air dates are going to happen, if there is for sure going to be the continuation of the series, although there was the Bandai Europe thing that said there was. Anyways, so Rubeus is dead, and the Sailor Senshi managed to escape, and the castle is just falling to ruin. Saphir goes to help his brother up, and that they leave it at that. Sailor Moon, Mercury, Mars, and Jupiter end up back with Pluto, because Neo Queen Serenity was talking through Sailor Moon. Again, I think it's because Sailor Moon herself reached out to her future self, and they managed to do this amalgamation. And they're like, how are we going to get out of here? We can't do that, because the Sailor Teleport, as we know, needs 5 people. But she reaches out to Sailor Pluto, a little time key appears, which helps them use some of Sailor Pluto's power, which we see also when they disappear and then reappear around the time gate. Pluto's holding out her staff. She is giving them the power, so technically there's 5 of them there. And Venus is like, oh my god, you guys are okay, and everything's all wonderful and peachy keen. And then Tuxedo Command, again, is wandering aimlessly, and he asks Usako for help. Now, we saw that Neo Queen Serenity at this point had gone back to just being dormant. The power whole thing had ended, and Sailor Moon was like, oh, it was Neo Queen Serenity that helped us, and Prince Endymion pointed out, no, it's your power. And we saw really creepy, messed up animation for him. His face just looked really weird. And again, there was a weird thing with Sailor Pluto in her mouth. I don't know what's going on. So, Black Lady appeared and to Tuxedo Command and basically grabbed onto him, and he's still got the moon rod, but he's slowly falling under her spell, and we're going to get that really creepy scene coming up either next episode or the one after, where he's kissing his own daughter as an adult, kind of intimately. Given the fact that they've left all these weird kind of rape-like things, and the fact that Wiseman is creepy as shit, I would not be surprised if they made that other scene really, really creepy. But we'll see how things go. So, basically Sailor Moon and the others find out that Tuxedo Command is wandering aimlessly, and that's where they ended off, was where Black Lady reaches out to him and blah blah blah. So, overall, the episode was very fast. They cut out a lot of things, little small details, which is kind of annoying when they always do that, but they have to drive the action along in order to fit it all into one episode. They have to have the attacks things in there, they have to have the transformations in there, because that's really Sailor Moon. I mean, that's what it's famous for, right? So, all in all, I liked it. I thought it was a good episode. I still think the key points of the animation, especially of the characters, is all over the place. They cannot seem to get that under control. There's some episodes it's beautifully done, and then other episodes it's tragically horrible, and you just want to be like, what the fuck? Increase the budget! Like, oh wow, that's just the fan in me that's going on about that. So, again, Wiseman is really bizarre. Like I said, I'm pretty sure someone just reached down, grabbed his balls, and squeezed really, really tight, and that allows him to have that really high-pitched sound. Because I'm a singer, and I have a pretty good range, so my vocal coach told me, but I could never reach something that high. I never tried to grab my own balls and go that high, but, that would hurt a lot. I'm pretty sure. So, anyway, all kidding aside, again, a great episode, and now the next one is going to be, I think, in 3 weeks. I think. I'm pretty sure, because May has that extra weekend. I could be wrong, I don't know. It's like almost 4 o'clock in the morning. I gotta get to bed. But Don't forget to check out my radio show, Animate in Japan Insanity on the Radio, every Sunday from 2 to 4 p.m. Pacific Time, 92.5 FM in Kamloops, www.dx.ca online to stream it live. And let me know what you think down below about about the episode and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, Jamatane Mina, have a great night, and I will see you again soon. Bye-bye.